Hello and welcome back to our lesson on heat transfer. This is still on Kumat Online Academy, and today we want to look at the applications of heat transfer. In the previous lesson, we talked about the concepts of heat transfer. We defined heat transfer and talked about the types of heat transfer and examples of each of the heat transfer methods. Now today we want to look at the applications of heat transfers. Heat transfer is very important in our everyday life. We see heat transfer when we cook, heat moving from the source of heat to your food, and so many other ways. Now we are going to look at the applications of heat transfer based on each method of heat transfer. That means we are going to be looking at conduction, the application of conduction as heat transfer, convection, the application of convection as heat transfer, and radiation, the application of radiation as heat transfer. Conduction, convection, and radiation. Like we talked about in the previous class, we said that we have three methods of heat transfer. Conduction, which involves contacts or vibration of the particles in an object, especially a solid. The vibration of the particles that make it up will bring about heat transfer due to conduction, and convection is the movement of particles in an object like liquid. As the particles are moving, the one that is heated is moved away from the source of heat supply, and another one that is not heated will move down to the place and get heated and move away, making room for another one to come inside. And that one is heat transfer by convection. And we also talked about radiation, which involves heat transfer without any contacts. This one occurs in vacuum, like the heat from the sun reaching us on earth without anything carrying it to the earth. That is the one we call radiation, or when fire is burning somewhere and you are standing somehow far away from the fire and you are getting the heat of the fire, it is still radiation. You are not in contact at all with the heat, but you are getting the effect of the heat. That is the heat transfer through radiation. Now today we want to look at how we can apply these heat transfer methods in our everyday life. Now let's look at conduction. For conduction, we use conduction in cooking. When you want to cook, you put what you want to cook inside your pot and turn on your heat source. The heat source will come in contact with the pot you want to use and cook, and from there the heat will be transferred to the pot, and from the pot the food is in contact with the pot. Then the heat will now move to the food and then get your food done. So cooking is one way of applying conduction in everyday life. One, cooking, conduction. Two is in ironing. When we want to iron, we turn on our iron, it will get heated, then we have to bring it in contact with the cloth we want to iron, and that will help to iron our clothes. So ironing is another way of applying conduction in everyday life. We also see the application of heat transfer due to conduction in our cooking utensils. We coat our cooking utensil like a spoon with an insulator or poor conductor of heat so that the heat will not move from the iron to our hand or to our body so that it will not burn us. So that is another way of preventing heat conduction through heat conduct heat conduction in our cooking utensils. So it is a way of application of the knowledge of heat conduction, heat transfer through conduction, insulating insulating cooking utensils. Cooking utensils. Example, our spoon. Okay, so these are few ways we can apply heat transfer through conduction in our everyday life. We also can use conduction in a very important way in our electrical wiring. IV, number 4. You know what we call fuse. In electrical wiring, a fuse is something that we use to bridge or to cut out electrical supply. When the electrical supply or the current is too high, a fuse is used to cut it so that it will not go and damage things in our house or to damage our appliances. Now, the conduction is used here when the wire in the fuse is heated through conduction. When the current is too high, the wire will be overheated, and then the wire in the fuse will cut, therefore breaking the supply of the current to our appliances, therefore preventing our appliances from damaging. That is how fuse works. It works through heat transfer by conduction. The wire inside the fuse is heated through conduction so that the wire will cut. If the current is too high, the wire will cut, and then it will prevent the heat or the current from being transferred to our electrical appliances at home. So that is another way of applying heat transfer through conduction. See, this is cutting of fuse is another method of another way of applying heat transfer through conduction. Then we talk about conversion, heat transfer through conversion. Heat transfer through conversion. In conversion, we use it in boiling water. Boiling. 1. When we are boiling something like water, the heat is applied at the bottom of the pot. The water in the bottom or at the bottom of the pot will get heated and then move away. Since the particles in conduction are moving, it will move away, making room for the one on top to come down and get heated and then move away, so that all the particles inside the pot or all the particles of the water will be heated. So it is applied in boiling of liquid, that is conversion. It is also applied in chimney. Inside your kitchen, you apply it to remove heat, excess heat away from your kitchen when you are heating or when you are cooking. I've described chimney in the previous class, a small construction that is done near the place you heat. As heat is coming, like smoke is coming out, the smoke will be moving out through the hole on top of the house, and then fresh air will be coming through the hole down to the kitchen. So there will be a kind of circulation of hot air and cool air within the kitchen, so that the kitchen will not be overheated. So that is another application of conversion. 2. Chimney construction. Chimney construction is another application of conversion. Another application of conversion is in boiling system in the house. The boiling systems, cooling systems in the house. 3. Cooling systems like fan that you use to force conversion. You have to use it to force cooler air to come inside your house. It is a way of bringing about heat transfer through conversion. It is a kind of forced conversion, like I talked about in the previous lesson, that you have natural conversion and forced conversion. Forced conversion is the one that is intentionally made by man to circulate hot and cool air. So like your fan, you use your fan, you turn it on, and then it will bring cooler air inside your house. Rotate the air, move the hot air out, and bring the new fresher air inside, or cooler air. That is a cooling system of forced conversion. So these are the ways we can apply conversion in everyday life. There is also something we call sea and land breeze. A sea and land breeze is a phenomenon that we notice sometimes when the sun has heated the ocean. You go to the ocean at night, the ocean will be very, very hot at night. But in the afternoon, when the sun is hitting it, if you go to the ocean will be cool. The water in the ocean will be cool, very cold. But at night that you're expecting everything to be cold, if you go to that same ocean, it will be very, very hot. That is what we call land and sea breeze. Also, the land in the afternoon will be very, very hot, but at night, if you come out and touch it, it will be very, very cold during a hot weather. That process, or this phenomenon, is what we call land and sea breeze. What happens is that heat is moving from the land to the ocean. When the sun is hitting the earth, it is hitting it during the day, then this heat will be moving gradually down to the ocean. Before it gets to the ocean, it will be night, and then at night the ocean will be hot, and then the cooler air from the ocean will be moving gradually, and before it gets to the earth, it will be in the daytime. So in the day, the earth will be hot, while the ocean will be hot. In the night, the ocean will be hot, while the land will be cold. While in the day, the land will be hot, while the ocean will be very cold. So that is the process we call, or the phenomenon we call, land and sea breeze. This one is a natural phenomenon. It's under natural conversion, or natural conversion method of heat transfer. So these are about 4. Land and sea breeze. Land, we call it land and sea breeze. BREEZE. SEAC, land and sea breeze. The exchange of heat between the earth and the sea. The exchange of heat between the land and the sea is what we call the land and sea breeze. Okay, now let's look at radiation. Radiation, this one has very important use in our everyday life. During hot weather, we are advised to wear light clothes. The reason is because we have what we call good radiators and bad radiators. Anything that is light or white in color or that is close to white is a good radiator of light. It reflects light away. Now the one that is black absorbs heat, while the ones that are white, they reflect heat, they move heat away from them. That is why your kettle, if your kettle is black, it boils water faster than when the kettle is still shining, when it is new. So the old kettle boils water faster than your new kettle. It is something that happens every day. If you have not noticed it, you try it. Buy a new kettle of the same size with the one you have at home, put equal volume of water in two of them, and try to look at the one that will boil first. What is happening is that the one that is black, that is your old kettle you are using. If you are using charcoal, maybe the kettle that have turned black. The old kettle that is black, it will absorb heat faster than the one that is white, that is shining. The one that is shining will be moving some heat away from it. So not all the heat that is coming to it will enter inside the pot or inside the kettle to boil the water. So during hot weather, we are advised to wear light clothes. The light clothes will reflect heat away from our body. So it is not all the light that is coming, all the heat that is coming from the sun that will be entering our body. But if you wear black clothes in a hot weather, any heat that comes, the cloth will attract it, will absorb it, and then it will move inside your body, and then you'll be feeling heat. So that is the application of radiation in our everyday life. 1, we are advised to wear, or we say that application, that light clothes is better to wear. Light clothes are better to wear in a hot weather than black or dark clothes. So that is one application of radiation or heat transfer through radiation. Another application of heat transfer through radiation is what we call X-ray. If gone to some hospitals, you will see what they call X-ray machine. When you have injury of the bone, for them to look at your bone or the bone inside your body, they use a machine called X-ray machine. The X-ray machine will transfer heat or radiation from the machine to your body, and they will be able to see the image of your bone. But in doing that, there is no contact between you and the machine. If you go there, you stand somewhere far from the machine, and then they will beam the light. It will come to your body and take the image of your body through heat absorption using the radiation. So that is another application of radiation in X-ray machine. In X-ray, it is applied in X-ray. Number 3, it is also used in radiator, car radiator. Now look at how X-ray is used, how radiation is used in car radiator. Your car radiator, if you look at it very well, it is always painted black. The reason is because if it is painted black, it will absorb more heat from the car. The essence of radiation is to absorb the excess heat from the car. When the heat in the car is too much, the car will become dangerous. Anything can happen in the car. So the excess heat that is generated in the car has to be absorbed by the radiator. The radiator is painted black so that it will be able to absorb more heat from the car. If it is not painted black, it may not be able to absorb all the heat coming, or it will absorb only small amount of heat. So that is why the radiator is painted black. It is a kind of transferring heat through radiation, and that is why we call it radiator. So that is another application of a heat transfer through radiation. We also use it in generation of electricity in nuclear energy plants. This one, you may see this one in detail when you get to higher level, but it is one way that we apply heat transfer through radiation. So we've seen how to apply heat transfer in conduction. We've seen how to apply heat transfer, or where heat transfer is applied in convection. Especially take note of the sea and land breeze, which is the exchange of heat between the sea and the land, causing the sea to be hot at night and cold in the day, and the land to be hot in the day and cold at night. That is land and sea breeze. Exchange of heat between the land and the sea, causing the sea to be hot at night and cold in the day, and the land to be hot in the day and cold at night. So I take note of other applications of heat transfer through convection, and then you come to radiation. You take special notice of the heat transfer in radiator as one of the applications of heat transfer through radiation. I hope the lesson is very clear. Thank you.